Welcome and thank you for listening to the Sales Maven Show. I'm your host, Nikki Rausch, your own personal sales maven. I'm here to offer you tips and strategies and techniques to master your sales conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about the 3 shifts that entrepreneurs can make in 2026 to ensure that they're having more confident sales conversations. So, let me ask you something. Have you felt like your sales conversations this last year have been a little heavier than normal? That is not unusual. This seems to be a common theme that I'm hearing over and over again from clients. And so, as always, I'm looking for ways to show people the strategies and the techniques to make sales conversations easier, easier for you, and frankly, easier for your buyer, right? Because the idea of showing up to those conversations when you feel confident, when everything feels natural, things are just kind of rolling off, it feels like a true conversation. It's like, wow, it releases all the pressure, right? I always think about a balloon that's about ready to pop. Like, let's take some of the pressure off because it shouldn't feel like pressure. And if it does, then this episode is for you, really. If you're finding that your mind is racing, that you're getting tangled up in your words, there's ways to ease this for yourself. And this has been such a focus, I think, for me in this last year of hearing from clients over and over again about how much pressure they're putting on themselves to get it right. And because it's so much pressure, it almost just makes the conversation worse, right? Like they say things that they're like, I can't believe that came out of my mouth, or gosh, it just felt like it just went off the rails in the conversation. And I don't really know why. I just know that I was nervous, right? It's like I kind of think about if you've ever walked on like a narrow beam, where it takes a little bit of balance. When you feel really nervous, like if you're a little bit afraid of heights and your legs are wobbly a little bit, like it feels uncomfortable, right? And you're almost guaranteed to lose your balance and fall off the beam. But then those other times where maybe it seems really low to the ground, there's low risk, you can walk across that beam and it not even be an issue, right? Like you're walking around like on a curb and your balance is perfect. I think that's what I'm thinking about here is that it's just because it's like when you feel like it's shaky that you're likely to tumble. But when you feel confident, like the risk is low, then it's just so much easier to balance. And that's truly why I do what I do is with this idea of giving people more balance, giving them more confidence in these conversations because it truly is not about being perfect. It's more about your confidence level because you can just handle it better. And it's not just better for you. Frankly, it's so much better for your buyer when you're showing up from a real confident place. All right. So today we're going to talk about these 3 shifts that I truly believe are going to be game changers for those those of you who are still feeling like I'm a little shaky. I'm a little shaky in these sales conversations. So these are the shifts. It's really going to be about asking better questions. It's going to be the ability to speak about your value with more confidence, and it's going to be about practice. These are the 3 big shifts. So let's get into each one. I want to break it down here for you. So, shift 1 for me is about asking the right questions. This is so crucial to your success. It isn't just about asking all the questions. It's not about asking some questions. It's about asking the right questions. When you ask the right questions, you essentially get the roadmap that you need in order to earn that person's business because you ask these questions in the right way. Now, I have been talking about questions for a long time. Um, I know recently I got asked in an interview of like, what do you think is like the main game changer to be more proficient in sales? And it's really about questions. Like, it's such it's such a game changer when you ask the right questions in your conversations because you gather that information and the person is essentially saying to you, this is what I need in order to sign up for your program, buy the thing that you're selling, to feel confident about their decision to hire you. So the questions are really the game changers. When you ask the right questions in your sales conversations, you create safety for the other person because they're like, oh, finally, I'm talking to somebody who knows what I need to know. And I'm talking to somebody who is an expert at what they do. And it really builds that momentum. Essentially, it isn't about you convincing anybody to buy from you. They are convincing themselves based on the questions that you're asking. It's allowing them to go, "Oh, I really am talking to the right person." Now, I know that there's plenty of podcasts that I have done where I'm talking about what questions. I'm trying to think of what year I did this. I think it might have been back in 2020. If you go, was it? No, it was probably, oh gosh, I should have gone back and looked about this. There was a year that the podcast, at the end of every podcast, I gave a question because it's such a game changer. So this is not new. This is not like, oh, Nikki's talking about this shift that's like, I've never heard this before. I hope you have heard this before. I hope you've heard it many times. And I hope today it sinks in at a much different, deeper level that you learning how to ask the right questions in your sales conversations is the game changer. It is the difference maker. It is the way to earn somebody's business. So when you have the right questions, it keeps you from rambling. It keeps you from oversharing. It keeps you from coaching and offering advice. It keeps you from discounting often your offer. There's just so many advantages to it. And so having those questions that you ask in your consults, and not frankly just in your consults, but in your existing client conversations as a way to earn additional business, like all of these things make a difference. And so one of the things I'm really focused on in 2026 is giving people the opportunity to create their consultation map. This is that like set list of questions that is going to be the difference maker. If you are not clear on the questions that you're asking in your consultations right now, and if you're not closing your consultations at the level that you want to close, chances are you don't have a clear consultation map that you're following, and or the questions on that are really not giving you the information that you need to earn their business. That just means you're not asking the right questions yet, and that's okay. I'm so committed to this. I invested a ton of money for a new offer around helping clients create a consultation map. So I created a training. I've gifted it to people. I've charged for it. It's there. But what I'm finding is that it's not enough. The training wasn't enough because some people weren't going through it. They were like, yeah, I know this is important, but I feel stuck. Like I know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm not quite sure how to get my questions. So I'm investing a ton of money in creating a new product that has an AI component to it so that by the end, you actually have your consultation map. Like it's done for you. There's a training component. Like I'm still teaching the stuff that I teach of how to frame the right questions, but there's going to be this AI component that's helping like pull these questions out of you because it's the difference maker. So it's coming. I'm really excited about it. But whether you go through what I'm talking about or you do this on your own, having the right questions is really going to be a game changer. So having a consultation map, something that you follow during your consultations, it just keeps you on track. If your consultations are going too long, like it's usually because you don't have any kind of structure and you're letting the client lead the conversation. That is such a mistake. If the client is leading the conversation in a consultation, you're inadvertently sending a message that you're like, you're a follower. And who wants to hire a follower? Like, we don't hire people to follow us. Well, hopefully we don't. Like, we hire people who are going to guide us, right? So you have to be in that position of being the guide. And you get there by having your consultation map. So having those questions and really following it is going to save you so much time. It's going to establish your expertise for the buyer and make them more confident about their decision to hire you and invest in whatever it is that you offer. It's just, it's such a game changer. So having the right questions is really shift one. If you don't have yours yet, it is absolutely time to get it. I know I've given this before. I'm going to give it again uh, before it has the AI component, but the questions that seal the deal, the seal the deal training, you can get it for free right now by just going to yoursalesmaven.com/my gift. I'll gift it to you. Now, whether you go through it and come up with your own consultation map or not, that's going to be the game changer. So I will have this other offer for you shortly, where you can actually have an AI assistant guide you through it with my process. So that's coming. That will be a paid component. I want to be really clear about it, but I'm so committed that I'm willing to just gift you the training because it will make a difference in your consultations. And I know this from my own work. I know this from my clients and their experience of going through it. Like, it's just a big game changer. All right, so that's shift one. Let's move to shift two. I could talk about questions this whole episode. All right, shift two. This was a big awareness that came about, and I'm just finding more and more and more with client conversations the difference that it makes. And it's leading with benefits instead of features. Now, I have a podcast that I did about this. It's episode 249. It's called Boost Sales by Highlighting Benefits, Not Features. Show clients the value. And what I'm finding is that my clients are aware of it, but they're still struggling to come up with benefits. And so this is something I've been spending a ton of time in consultation calls, not consultation calls, sorry, in strategy calls, in spotlight coaching sessions of helping clients really like pull out the benefits of their features. If you only talk about your features, and so this comes from my background in tech, where we talk about features, advantage, benefits, and our spec sheets used to always have the feature, right? Like, this is the weight of the product. What is the advantage of that, and what's the ultimate benefit, right, of that? And too often we're so focused on features, right? You put together an offer and your whole sales page is just about the features. Like, you get this many sessions with me, or you get access to this training. That is a feature. That is not a benefit. And people buy on benefits. They want to know the so what. What is this going to mean for me? How is this going to ultimately make a difference? And one of the mistakes that I often find, and that I'm going to say I push my clients on this a little bit, is they think it's obvious. Well, it's obvious what the benefit is, like based on what the feature or even the advantage that I've stated, but it isn't obvious to the buyer. Like, you know what you know, and it's obvious to you because you know it so intimately, so deeply, that you forget that you have to point it out. If you're expecting your clients to figure out what the benefits are of the offer that you're putting out, you're asking too much of them, which is common. This is so common. Like, please don't beat yourself up if you're like, oh, I think I'm doing that. That's okay. It's normal, because we know what we know, and it's hard to not know it and not look at it from the client's perspective. But yet, if you're not paying attention to talking about benefits, you're working too hard to close the sale. You don't have to work that hard. You just need to get really clear on what the benefit of the feature is. So again, go listen to that episode. I'm not going to like break this down in detail. I really just want to talk about shifts for things to think about. Like, if this isn't something you have mastered yet, do, because it will be a huge game changer. You will find that selling is so much easier when you shift to talking benefits. Doesn't mean you can't list the features, doesn't mean you shouldn't list the features. That's fine. But you've got to talk benefits. You have to take it the step further for the client. Don't expect them to do it. You have to state them. It has to be so plain, so obvious that that is what's going to make it so much easier for them to make a decision around it. Yesterday I was working with a client in a strategy session, and we have talked about this a few times now in strategy sessions. And we were talking about one aspect of her offer. And I was like, okay, so make sure that it's so clear what the benefit is for the client. And she was like, I know I'm supposed to do this, Nikki, but I'm not sure how to articulate the benefit. So, like, that's really what we spent the bulk of our session doing, was outlining. I was showing her, like, if you take this and we turn it into the benefit, like, how does this sound now? Right? Like, what is this going to resonate? Because now when you put it in front of them with a price tag attached, it's a much easier yes if they understand the benefit versus just like, oh, this is what we get when we buy something from you. It's like, no, yeah, that's the feature of it. But what you really get is these long-term advantages and benefit, benefit, benefit. Like, we had a whole list. I think she had 7 by the end. Now, whether or not she presents all 7, probably not needed. But once she did that, her confidence level about putting this offer in front of the client, it just, like, you could tell there was just this huge shift in her energy. She was like excited to go back and lay this out for the client because she understood the real benefit of what they were going to get. And it wasn't just about how much they were going to spend with her, right? Like, it has to be about the benefits. That is going to be the difference maker. And I want to reassure you that understanding the benefits is a skill. It's something like pulling these out. It's something that does take practice. It isn't something that often comes natural. And again, the reason it doesn't come natural is because sometimes you already know what you know. And so for you, you know it kind of at that, like, it's the subconscious. It makes sense to you because you've seen it so many times, or you've done it, or you've experienced it, or you know what the clients get out of it. But we forget to articulate it because it's almost like, that term, like, common sense isn't common. It's not. So benefits are not common sense to people. And even though for you it might seem really obvious, it is not obvious to your clients. So it has to be commented on, it has to be stated, and it will be a difference maker when you really focus on benefits. So if you go and look at one of your sales pages right now, or the last offer that you put out, and really examine, was I just listing features of what they're getting? Or did I take it that next step further and really talk about the benefit of it? Right? Like, there's a real, like, a feature, for instance, just give you one example. One of the features that my private coaching clients often get in their packages with me is they get Voxer access. That's the feature. The advantage is that it's a fast way to communicate with me. That's the advantage. The benefit of having Voxer access is they never are stuck on a question or what to say or how to say it with a client. They always have an answer from me same day. And that allows them to build momentum in their business. That's the benefit of the feature of Voxer, right? And so you really want to tease those out with your clients, and not with your clients, tease those out in your offers, and really stretch yourself to go back and go, what is the benefit of this feature? Because if you only talk about features, it doesn't establish the value. Okay. The last shift, and this is a big one, to really get confident and make the selling process and those conversations easier, and think about, like, your confidence of walking across the beam or the curb or whatever it is, the tightrope. to really improve your confidence around that is practice. Practice saying things out loud. Practice going through your consultation map and getting like actually saying the questions out loud to yourself. I was having a strategy session with a client the other day, and she gave me I know that the intent was like in one aspect was to give a compliment, which of course, I love a compliment, so I appreciate it. But realistically, it was a way that she was talking about how smooth it is, how easy it is for me, how natural it sounds when I'm giving suggestions on language. Just like it's so much, it just comes out. It's so smooth for you. And I had to remind her that it isn't just like I wasn't born this way. Like it's practice. I've said these things 1,000 or more times. I have practiced these conversations, or I've had opportunities to have these conversations multiple times. And so it does feel a little bit more like second nature. It's a little bit easier. So thinking about that for yourself. And one of the things I had suggested to her is there was one aspect that she found kind of felt uncomfortable to say. And I was like, just start saying it out loud when you're driving by yourself in your car, right? Like sometimes I'm doing this when I'm like getting my steps in. I'm just talking to myself, which, the nice thing now is we always assume people are on their phones, right? They've got their AirPods in or whatever. And so it's fine if you talk to yourself. I talk to myself all the time, and I practice saying things out loud a lot. And so giving yourself the opportunity to practice is such a shift in your confidence level, because sometimes you think it's going to be easy to say, and then it kind of like tumbles out and not well out of your mouth when you actually are in the situation to say it. So give yourself the opportunity to practice. One of the things that I've implemented and will probably run through 2026 is sales practice sessions. And in these, I'm picking a particular aspect of selling, and I'm doing a little mini training at the beginning just to kind of freshen up my client's memory about this, and then giving them an opportunity to practice with me and or with somebody else in the group. And when I initially launched this, like I love the idea of practice sessions, but I thought, people get like, oh, I don't want to role play. That feels awkward and weird. But I have to say, I was so pleasantly surprised at not only the turnout of the amount of clients that show up for the practice sessions, but the willingness for people to go, like, raise their hand and say, I'm willing to try this. And it just reaffirmed for me how important these practice sessions are, and the bravery, and also just to have a safe place where people can say things out loud. The last one that we did, there was somebody who she was like, okay, I'm going to be brave and I'm going to try this. And in a way, it was like something that she knew about it. She had done it in situations, but here she was in this practice session. And when she got to like get some feedback about like, what if we tweak this little statement here? And it's like sometimes you don't even recognize or know some of the things that come out of your mouth. Like you think you're saying it one way, but actually the words that you're using are something else. And it was like this huge light bulb moment for her to just have this practice session where she was like, oh, wow. Like it was a big difference maker for her. And some of the feedback that I've gotten from clients that have done the practice sessions so far have been phenomenal, of like, my sales calls just went so much smoother. Like I've never found pre-framing easier in a sales call than just doing that practice session with you, just boosted the confidence. I had somebody else tell me this week that they closed a consultation in less than 20 minutes, and they'd never done that before, and how easy it was. And it's just like having that being exposed and giving yourself the opportunity to practice. And if role playing feels like awkward and weird, like do it with yourself. Like play privately where it's just you talking to the mirror or talking in your car driving. The more conversation conversational you make sales, the easier it gets, frankly. So I'm always thinking about how can this sound conversational? Because yes, there's strategy and structure to it, but when it's conversational, it takes some of that, again, takes some of that pressure out. So give yourself some opportunity to practice. Now, as always, you have an invitation to come join us in the Sales Maven Society, where we're doing practice sessions every month through the year of 2026. We have a really good one coming up in January. I can't wait. It's one of my favorite things. So, but we're doing them once a month. So come be a part of a practice session. And if you don't want to do it with my group, then find a friend to practice with. Or again, practice with yourself in the mirror when you're driving. If you're getting your steps in, just practice saying some of these things out loud so that they are smooth in the sales conversation, so that your voice doesn't shake, so that you come across more confident and you increase the confidence in the buyer in making this investment in themselves, whatever it is that they're going to purchase from you. So, all right, so those are my 3 things that I truly believe are going to be game changers and shifts in having more confident client conversations in 2026. So the first one again is asking the right questions. The second one is getting clear on the benefits and articulating them in the conversation. And then the last is give yourself these opportunities to practice and just see, even if you just do it one time and just see what the difference could possibly be for you with a practice session. I suspect you're going to come back and be like, oh, yeah, I got to do this. Like there's a reason that repetition is like a game changer, and putting yourself in situations to practice, such a good thing. And you are being very brave. So I want to recognize the courage that it takes to practice and encourage you to keep doing it. All right. As always, thanks for listening. I'm so grateful that you're here. If I don't get to connect with you before the end of the year, please know that I am wishing you just so much success in the coming year. And as always, thanks for listening to the podcast. Have a great rest of your day.